Okay, so today we're going to be looking at this FHD rear view mirror from CamPark. I got this off of Amazon. A buddy of mine told me it was pretty good, so I figured I would check it out. And we're going to install it today. So let's get a look at what's inside. Looking pretty good. So it's definitely like a regular mirror in the sense that, wait, is this already powered? Oh, it looked like that was like actually on already. So it looks like a mirror. I mean, it works as a mirror, but the difference is it has a dash cam here and it has a rear dash cam as well, both in 1080, and it links up to your reverse light, so when you back up, this turns into a display and you can see behind you. Now I do have an aftermarket radio, and I could get a backup camera that I could plug into here, but most of the time I'll leave this down, and honestly this radio I'm probably gonna get rid of. If you ever get a DDX 374 BT, yeah, I'm gonna tell you not, because the Bluetooth in this sucks. So works good for my sub and everything, but yeah, anyway, 90% of the time this thing is down. So if I'm actually using this, then it makes more sense to have this up there, and it is a lot wider of a view too. Although I will say I see kind of a crinkle in this. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's like right here. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a defect or not. Yeah, so regardless, I might ask my buddy about that. You can't really tell when it's mounted up there though. Oh, I see another one up here. It may be made like that. I don't know. We will figure it out though. So anyway, I got this because it had the backup and it has the parking. It'll tell you as you back up. Plus it has, you know, it's a dash cam, so if anything happens, it does have a G sensor too if you're parked. The only thing with that is you will have to tap into your fuse box and make sure something that is live is always running. So something like this, whatever this goes to, is always on. My cigarette lighter is actually not always on, so I'm going to tap into whatever this is. I'm going to have to trace the wire for that. This is a Scion TC. It's a 2005, so if any of y'all have something similar, it should be fairly similar in even the newer models, the TC2. As far as the I/O here, you have USB and then AV in and GPS. So I just use GPS on my phone, and I have this. I'll link some of this stuff that I use in the description below. This has been really good. It's kind of old, but if I just stick my phone on it, it's literally a little magnetic guy. So I thought that's pretty cool. It's cheap too. It was like 10 bucks. I've used a few different ones, and always the little things up here like break off, like right here, and it just, this one's starting to get a little loose. But out of all the other ones I've had, this has lasted the longest, because the other ones, the spring in here dies and then just flops to the floor. So it's pretty annoying. Let's take a look at the rest of the stuff in here. So we have our backup camera. This just mounts pretty much anywhere. I'll probably use, oh, they include double-sided tape. I'll probably just mount it like literally in the back somewhere, probably like right at the bottom. I don't really want to run it outside, and this just seems easiest. So this comes with a little spudger tool for some weird reason. That's strange. So the way this works is you just grab this, pull that around, and then you just pull this over. Bada bing, bada boom. Forget about it. Oh, I can't see the other one. All right, just like that. Ugh. I might have to, we'll have to see how heavy this is. I know with my other mirror, I had one that was kind of extended out to here. That was a rally mirror. Not one of the full bar ones, but this one was like, it let me see my blind spot. This one does not. It's just like a little bit bigger. I realized this is cracked, so that's why this is like falling down. So if this doesn't work, then I'll need to order a new rearview mirror. What we want to do is just cut a circle, a couple circles that are kind of big. And we're going to try both. So we can push that in there. Oh yeah. Oh, so didn't really talk much about it. The USB is to power it, so I'm gonna have to run the line around here somewhere. I might just plug it in and see, you know, how it looks, and then I'll install it and kind of show y'all my process on doing that. I do like to do clean installations. Excuse me. And then this is pretty cool too. The camera is any direction and it comes out, so you can, I'm planning on, you know, having this kind of tilted this way a little bit. I mean, not directly like that, but, you know, tilted a little to the left. So I want to be able to angle the camera. So that's one of the reasons I got this one. So I thought that was pretty dope. Oh, so this actually just uses a USB cable. Yeah, I didn't know that. So I guess there's not going to be much wiring then. So what I'm probably going to do is run another outlet for this, or find a USB that I can plug in just like this and power it through the fuse box. So we can definitely get a look at everything here and just see how it works at least. So now we can run this guy. Just like that. So we need to pull that out. Boom. Then we can angle this down just like that. That's pretty dope. As for the rear, this looks like it's gonna be an installation process. So actually, I believe with this one, I literally just have to tap into a reverse wire. So we will go ahead and wire this up. I don't even know if this is gonna be long enough, actually. Oh, well. I don't really want to unplug this, but I kind of want to. Okay, easy enough. And it goes in just like that. Okay, so this now plugs in up here. Nope, that's the GPS. Just like that. Okay guys, so there's not really much information on how to take this off. At least there's not a video on it. So we're gonna do that because we're gonna move this camera to outside the car because it's already becoming a pain to see out. The tinted windows does not work with a backup camera, FYI. So if you're getting a backup camera, you definitely don't want to put it inside the car. So the first step is to start from the front, remove the two side panels. And I already broke it. Son of a bitch. Okay, so we have those taken out. We'll grab the camera here later. Yeah, just so you understand, it's very easy to break these clips, as I just did. Really what you want to do is pop the center piece off and work your way down the side. So definitely don't do what I did. Now it's probably going to rattle. Here, I thought I was being careful. All right, not that bad when you pull from there. All right. Oh, and there's 2 tabs right here, but honestly I think I can leave this good to go. So now what we want to do to get, if we want to get the back license plate cover off and the handle to pull this down, then there's 4 bolts. How the hell does that work? Wow, these things are glued so tightly that they just snapped. Well, I need to use one of these holes anyway. It's just kind of that it broke like that. A little bit goes a long way. Got it. Kinda. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. Everything is good to go. Okay, so to give a quick rundown, I ran it through the grommet. That is definitely the hardest part of this whole install, at least on the Scion TC. You have to pull this rubber piece down. You can't really use a screwdriver. What I did was I just kind of squeezed and pulled. And then on this bottom part, you have to kind of lift up on this very bottom lip with your fingernail and slip a screwdriver under there to plop this little rubber grommet piece up out of there as well. And once you get that off, getting it back on is nearly impossible unless you go from the underside by pulling, where's the tab at? That tab right there, and basically lowering the headliner so that you can get in there, and there's tabs that hold this plastic piece in place, which this rubber grommet goes over. So you can pop that up and have enough room to press down pretty hard on this plastic piece to get the grommet back over it, and then you push this back down to snap it in place. It was very difficult for me to get a good view on this because it's such a tight space, so I figured I would just explain it in person with you all. And as far as the wiring, all I had to do there was run it, and I zip tied it to the existing harness. I ran it all the way up, and then kind of like around the little tab for this cover, and I ran it all the way, following the existing wiring harnesses, and then I zip tied the excess to the hatch. And what I did from there is I ran the actual camera, which is right there. I had to unplug the camera itself and then I ran the cable for the camera through, and then I connected it to the harness. So the actual harness won't fit through, but that's okay anyway, because you don't really want the harness sitting outside. And then I just used silicone to seal it, and I did it for the other one as well. Right here, I literally just plugged the hole, because literally the two bolts that I had to pull out snapped, so I didn't want water to leak in. And then all you have to do to get this back up is lift it up. You can just push it up right here, and then you're gonna have to pull this back a little bit to get it to seat over the current harness, and you'll have to pull it back a little bit over here as well to get it to seat over the metal. And then you can just start kind of from like in the back and push up back here, and then this part will snap in too, because there's a clip right here, like in here somewhere, and there's one closer to the front. So once you do that, you're just gonna screw your two bolts back in, and then you're just gonna snap everything back into place. Hopefully you didn't snap a bunch of stuff like I did. It is an older car, it is a 2005, so it's very well likely that it will happen to you too, which sucks. I don't know where or if you can order more of these, but I plan to order some. So as soon as I find out, I will make sure to link them in the description below. So I wanted to give a quick little glimpse as to what it looks like when it's mounted. I did angle it slightly to the left a little bit, and now I got all the panels back on. Some of the clips did break. You can tell it's not staying on completely back here, and this was the one that actually pulled off fairly easily. So the other ones I literally was able to bend them back, but if you can get a tool, it would definitely help to prevent this, because you're supposed to push back right here to pop them out, but that did not work out so well. All I gotta do now is clean up the little dirt marks that I have left on there. But yeah, I mean, you can't see any of the wires because it's up in the grommet up here. Well, you can kind of see a little bit of wire right there, but all I did was I ran it all the way from up front, around right here, down through here. Then I hijacked into the brake light. The specific wire that you want to hit, because I don't know if I cover that, is the one that goes up top to the brake light, and it's the actual black one that comes to the reverse light. So you just follow the reverse light out. It's this guy right here, and you're gonna you can tee into it. I mean, you could solder it if you want to do a little more clean, but yeah, you just tee into the black cable, and that's gonna give you, let me get this in, oh, that's backwards. That's gonna give you, whenever you back up, it shows the guidelines, so everything is good to go there. Then you have to decide, do you want it to always be on or off? The Scion, by default with the TCs, the cigarette lighters turn off when the car is off, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, I believe this will still record. According to the Amazon listing by the seller, there's a built-in backup battery, so it kind of sits and waits for any G's to be detected and then will record. I haven't been able to get that to work, but I have cameras at the house that'll see the car, so I'm not like too worried about it always being powered on. But if you do want it to constantly be recording, then you need to leave this powered on. If you have a TC as well, you know, there's another cigarette lighter port right in here in the glove, in the center console. So if you did want to use that one for charging your phone or anything like that, you can do that. But I like to have this one available, and I don't really want the car to die, so that's why I'm gonna keep it wired existingly to the current cigarette outlet. Now with the fuse taps, you'll see there are 2 ports. You'll have one for the existing fuse and one for the new fuse. So typically, I believe I use about a 5 amp fuse. All I did here was I did the same thing as in the time lapse earlier, is I just ran the wire all the way across, down through the A-pillar here, and then down through this crevice, right through here, and then all the way down until it spat out there. So I ended up bundling up the excess wire down here. That way it could sit in the channel. And then here's my grounding point that I used. So right here is where I teed into the Tapifuse, which is right here. Sorry, it's really hard to see. Which is right here, and then teed into it there. So I just kind of wedged the cigarette lighter right there, and then I just zip tied it up in place, and then I connected the dash cam to that cigarette lighter, and that's where it all runs back up. So pretty straightforward here. All you have to do is unscrew this little screw in order to get the cover plate off, and then it just pulls out, revealing the channel here. Okay, now you can see cover is on. It's hiding everything up under here. It's zip tied out of the way. It's not in the way of the pedals that could cause any kind of disturbance there. So yeah, now all we got to do, turn the car on, make sure she works. Okay, so now I believe it comes down to my overall review, and honestly I probably would give it a 4 out of 5, and there's only a few reasons for that. So the ripple in the screen is one of the reasons. Another reason, I do really like the reverse backup camera. I think that's really cool that the dash cam can be used for that, but I really wish that it had a proximity sensor to kind of tell you when you're getting too close to something. And I have seen some other types of mirrors and things that do that, but they're usually from eBay, and I haven't always had the best of luck with eBay stuff. And then the last point is the G sensor. I've pretty much had to turn it off, because even on low, with my car being modified, with I mean, it's barely vibrating, honestly, but it's enough to trigger the G sensor in this to lock the file. So over time, those locked files are just gonna prevent it from being able to record, because it's gonna get full. So the auto record functionality that it already does seems like it does a pretty decent job of that. So if I turn that off, then it's only going to overwrite the file. Once it fully goes through and fills up the SD card, it's going to overwrite the oldest file. So if they're all locked, then it won't be able to overwrite nothing, and it's just going to fill up. So in order to avoid constantly taking this down, I think I'm going to turn that off. Depending on when this video is uploaded, you can check the description. I can let you know how things are going with that. Okay, so now we need to go over some of the settings here, because I didn't know about a couple of them. And I'm going to go over the most important ones right now, so we can go ahead and knock those out of the way, and then I'll go through the rest of them. The most important one here is going to be the screensaver, because it's currently set to off by default, and the screen won't turn off ever. So if you don't have that set to at least 10 seconds, when you back up and you start to drive off, the screen's always on and you can't use the mirror. So just make sure to leave that, or make sure to change that to 10 seconds or whatever you feel comfortable with. You definitely need the mirror, though. It's kind of hard to tell what's behind you, when you're driving, that sort of thing. So after that, I would definitely say the G sensor. It was set to, I believe, high when it first came out of the box, so I set it to low. The one thing I will say about this, though, is that it doesn't actually work right, I would say. But then again, my car is modified, so the vibrations might be triggering the G sensor, so it's locking the files, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because it's just going to end up filling up. So I'm going to try and turn it off, but that's one of the ones that I was saying earlier you should definitely change. So starting at the top here, you can actually change the resolution. You can make the rear camera 1080p or the front camera 1080p. You can't make both. I just left it the default, so the rear camera is 720. I tried switching them, but I didn't notice much of a difference. And another thing you might want to know too is that whenever you do save a setting, make sure you go all the way back out of it and restart it through the power button, because sometimes when turning the car off it doesn't save the setting. I don't know why, but once I used the power button it seemed to save it. So you also have loop recording, which is 1, 2, and 3 minutes. Basically after 3 minutes right now it'll stop and save a new file, so that way you don't have like these large amount of files with like 1 minute recordings. You can also record audio or turn it off. Then you have a travel lapse, which is like a time lapse of your travel. From there you have auto power off. I have that set to never. Then you have your date and time. You can do a timestamp with the date and logo, the CamPark logo. Light frequency is set to 60. I believe it's 50 out of the box, but if you notice any kind of like scan lines, you can actually change that to fix it. Whoops. So then you have parking monitor, which I don't know for sure if there's a battery in this, but supposedly there is, and if it detects any G's, it'll start recording. Then you can adjust the volume. And you have GPS status. So the GPS status is if you have a GPS little adapter up here, it'll let you see your speed. That's all it does. And then you have speed position, so you can change it from miles per hour to kilometers, and then the factory reset, and then the format memory card. I recommend, if you have a memory card you're going to use, to go ahead and format it using this so it can make all the files and folders that it needs to. Make sure you don't have anything important on there before you reset it or format the memory card. So yeah. All right, so hopefully this helps you guys out in deciding on if you want to get this or if you want to install it in your car, because any car is going to be a little bit different, but it's also kind of a pain, not gonna lie. But overall, I mean, it's definitely useful. I do like it. If anybody ever got in an accident, this would be very helpful if you were to have one. Plus the backup part is a nice additional feature. I just wish that it had like the beeping, like to let you know that you might be close to something. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll check out my next one. Peace out.